Hi guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So we are here for another one of our mass making sessions. We are up to week number 200. So yes, we are doing reruns. So those people who don't watch my channel, we are rerunning previous weeks. So we are rerunning week number 100. So we are week number 200. So this is like a real massive milestone, isn't it? To be honest, very, very exciting stuff. Who knew that we would ever get to 200? So what are we making today? We are making fabric tip-ins, okay? So if you want to join along and, you know, make along with me, what you're going to need is some fabric. Now, I've brought along one of my fabric scrap packs. These are for sale on my shabbydabbydoodah.co.uk website. So I've got a variety of different fabrics here. I've got some that are vintage and some that are new. And I'm going to use those to make my fabric tip-ins because you don't need particularly big bits of fabric, okay? Then I've got some lace, which I think makes quite a nice addition to the fabric tip-ins. I've got this lace and I've got some more lace kind of to the side and things. So, you know, of course, yeah, even more lace. So, you know, hey, yeah, plenty of lace and things to finish these off. And then I've got lots of trims. Now the trims are going to be used to kind of finish off the tops of the tip-ins. So I've got a variety of like floral trims. I've got some pearly trims, flowers, you know, some bows, all different things. And again, I have got these all for sale on my shabbydabbydoodah.co.uk website. So what else are you going to need? You're going to need some scissors. Now, of course, you could use your, oh, what are those things called? The pink and shears, you know, the fabric pink and shear scissors. I'm actually just going to use my regular scissors and then probably tear the fabrics down if they're tearable. Not all fabrics tear brilliantly. Because I quite like that rustic frayed kind of edge appearance. So yeah, for me, I'm going to use that. But of course, use, you know, whatever you wish to use. Now I've got Fabri-Tac here. So this is my Fabri-Tac glue. And it's in one of those Sugar Bell icing bottles. Okay, so you're going to need the glue of your choice that you find best for gluing fabric together. Now, an alternative method, or you could use additionally, you know, with your glue, is obviously stitch across the top of your fabric tip-ins. Now, I'm not going to do that in this video because I like to try and keep the mass makings, you know, as close as possible. You know, if there's a glue method and a stitch method, I try and glue where I can in the mass makings so that these videos are as accessible as possible to as many people as possible, because obviously not everybody has got a sewing machine. And aside from that, I've got my hot glue gun here beside me, which I will possibly use to glue the things like the trims and, you know, the bows and things like that. So, but that's a, you know, that's an optional extra really. So I think that's, you know, pretty much all that we're going to need. So I'm just going to run you through one. Obviously they are quite self-explanatory, so they probably don't really require, you know, much talking through. So I'm just going to run through one. And then what we'll do is literally kind of assembly line style, you know, mass make a whole bunch of these. So this is happens to be some vintage fabric. This was gifted to me by the lovely Laura. So thank you so much, Laura, if you're watching. Now, for your fabric tip-ins, what I like to do is start with a larger base and then work my way up with, you know, smaller sort of pieces. So it's up to you. Oops, how big your fabric tip-ins want to be, or you want them to be. So for this one, I'm just going to take this here like this. I didn't actually try tearing this fabric because it doesn't really look like it's going to tear brilliantly. So yeah, I didn't want to kind of spoil it. But that's my base piece. Now, this edge looks a little bit more jaggedy than this edge. So I'm going to probably use that as my top. Although now I'm thinking, for some reason, that fabric looks better that way around. And then I'm going to pull in a couple of other fabrics to just overlay with this. So maybe we will use some of this, or oh, I don't know now. Oh, this is where oh my goodness, how gorgeous does that one look? Yep, so I'm going to use a piece of this fabric, I think. So like I say, you're going to want to build them up. Now for me, I like to have kind of a little bit of a space. So, you know, on this edge. So I'm just going to take this in here and I'm going to just tear it to the sort of desired height that I would like this to be. So I'm kind of thinking, yeah, we're not kind of too far off here. So just tear it a little bit more, and then just going to take it across here and then tear it like that. Okay, so that's my second layer, and that's just going to sit on the first layer like that. And then I'm just going to take a third layer. Now again, it's up to you how many layers that you actually do with your fabric tip-ins. You know, you could kind of just have 2 layers, you can have, you know, more than 3 layers. Completely and utterly, you know, up to you how you want to do them. So I'm going to just take some of this gorgeous, again, it's a vintage fabric. Now let's hope this tears. Okay, and the reason I say that is because sometimes, you know, they tear one way but they won't tear the other. So, but this one, you know, luckily for us, it was all fine. So just going to then take that across there at the top. Oops. Okay. Like that. Okay, so that's my 3 layers of the fabric. I might just cut this one down slightly more. And then I like to finish them off with a bit of lace because I think that looks really pretty. So I've got some here, or actually I might prefer to pull in some sort of coloured lace that's going to pull in the colour from here. So, I mean, that looks gorgeous, doesn't it? And it's tying in that blue, which is really, really, really sort of, you know, smart and pretty. So just going to go straight across the top with my Fabri-Tac, like that. And then the next layer, like that. Now at this point, obviously, you could take it to your sewing machine and you could just stitch straight across there. I'm not going to do that. Actually, I'm just going to put my lace down, because then what I might do is trim off the whole thing so it's squared off, because that lace, you know, if you could see that, it's got that, you know, curvy kind of top. So I'm going to put the whole thing down and then cut the whole thing so that we eliminate the, you know, the curly top part. So like that. Okay, and then just snip that lace off there. And then I'm going to just take the whole thing. I have to be a bit careful because it's obviously still wet, you know, and liable to be moving about. So in an ideal world, I probably would have left this to dry before trimming it down, but you know, that's fine. Like that. I might trim the bottom down a little bit more, I'm not sure. Should have really checked to see whether this fabric tears or not. No, I had a funny feeling that this one didn't. So just going to go in and just kind of like tear it across on my scissors. So like that. So I've got a sort of jaggedy edge. For me, you know, I quite like the jaggedy edges. And then, I mean, what you could do is even, you know, tie it in and put perhaps a little bit of lace that matches the top. Could put something like that down there. I mean, again, all completely optional how you finish it off. But I mean, I think that perhaps looks quite pretty. It just ties the, you know, the top and the bottom in together, doesn't it? So like that. Okay. Now here, do we like it with the flower? Oh my goodness, how about like those? Let me just tear those down. Tear them, not tear them, cut them down. Maybe we'll have some here like that. Oh my gosh, that looks pretty, doesn't it? So I'm just going to hot glue these on, just because I find things like this, you know, easiest to just use the hot glue for. So like that. And oh, do we want anything else? I mean, that looks quite pretty, but I mean, to be honest, you know, and I've talked about this before, but I do find, you know, the styles, or, you know, my style, everybody's styles, they probably change over time. And obviously your supplies change over time. So, I mean, these look quite different, to be fair, to the tip-ins that I made on the first round of these videos. I'm not saying that I like these best. You know, I think both were nice. And yeah, they just have kind of evolved really according to, you know, the fabrics or the supplies that I have got to hand. So, but you know, I will try and remember to perhaps link the original video, and you can then see, you know, see how different they are and see which, you know, which kind of, not theme, but you know, which sort of style and things that you prefer. I mean, I could even put some pearly trim or something. I might be getting a bit carried away here and getting a bit much on here now, but let's just take that trim down. Oops. Or, you know, maybe we could have a bow or something. Let's just see the bow. Oh, gosh. I mean, I think either's quite nice, but let's go for the pearly trim. Like that. Okay. So this would then glue onto a page straight across the top. I would probably use hot glue personally. I would just glue that along the top, and this would be a little fabric tip-in, as Amity Bloom would call them, and it's just straight on the page like that. So we're just going to kind of mass make a bunch of these. Now, in order to do these assembly line style, I'm going to obviously run out of room here. So what I might have to do is, you know, kind of like cut all my fabrics, then layer them up sort of maybe 2 at a time or 3 at a time and do them like that. So we'll just kind of play it by ear, really, how it, you know, how it goes. But that's basically, you know, the gist of what we're making, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. So I might just take all of this and then just cut it down into my base pieces. So I'll just cut this one down here like that. And then this, to be honest, I'm just wondering, it's obviously too wide as it is. So what I might do is just take it like that. And then, you know, this offcut, I might just keep this to make something like a paper clip or something like that with. So I'll just put that to one side. So that's just a couple of base pieces there. So let's just put those. In fact, what I'm going to do, I've got a plan now. I'm going to cut some pieces of fabric down into base pieces and cut them down into, you know, larger pieces. So I mean, like this would probably be ideal for the third piece, if you see what I mean. So I will put piles of first, second and third layers, and then I can grab them in and we can kind of mix them in afterwards. So I think that would work really well. So just going to take this and cut it straight down the middle. When I say cut, obviously I meant tear. So like that. Okay. And then now probably best to keep that whole lady. So yeah, let's just tear across here. Oops. Right, this is exactly what I'm talking about, where the fabric, you know, it wants to tear one way but not the other. So I think it's kind of like dependent on where your grain of your fabric is, if that makes sense. So yeah, we've got that now. Okay, so this again can be a third layer piece there. That can be a base piece. And then this one, we'll do exactly the same, and we'll take it across sort of here-ish. And then, you know, we've got exactly the same. So we've got a base piece, and then we've got a third layer piece. So I'll just go through and do that with a few of these. So oh, I'm thinking that's quite nice, maybe even as a base piece. Or I mean, some of it I'll be dictated probably just by the, you know, the sizes of the fabrics anyway. But yeah, I mean, they're going to make base pieces, I think. So like that. So this one, probably what we should do now is make some mid-size pieces. So I'm going to take this down here, and then I could probably get from this one a mid-size piece and a size 3, if you see what I mean. So like that. Okay. There we go. So yeah, I've done that as a, what I would call the mid-size piece, and this is the, you know, size 3 type piece. Oh, I'm getting really covered in fabric pieces here. So this one, okie dokie. Now we'll just mention these fabric scrap packs, they are all a complete potluck basis, and due to the nature of, you know, of the product, i.e., you know, fabric, and some of the pieces especially being vintage fabric, I can't guarantee what mix of fabrics you're going to get, what sizes they're going to be, or anything like that. So I just want to put that out there, that, you know, if you're watching this thinking, oh, I'm going to order one of those, I will have those fabrics, you might not necessarily, you know, get all of the same fabrics that I've got here. So, you know, I just want to kind of really make that, you know, make that known really. So the fabrics are going to definitely vary. So I can't guarantee what fabrics, you know, what fabrics you'd get. So, but yes, by all means do, you know, do go and sort of have a look. I mean, not that you're going to really see any more in the pictures, to be honest. You're probably seeing more, you know, more here in the flesh being used than you'll see in the pictures. But okie dokie, isn't this just the most gorgeous, gorgeous fabric? Absolutely love it. So again, I can probably get base pieces from that. Okay, and obviously I might trim some of these down when I come to use them, so, you know, I won't necessarily be using them exactly as they are. There we go. Oops. Okay, that one, let's just make a couple of mid-size pieces. Oh, I didn't think that was going to tear across either. There we go. Like that, and oops, this one like that. Okay, so, you know, we're now kind of obviously assembly lining them, so we can just relax now, have a nice catch up, and yeah, just have a bit of fun and a nice time kind of making some of these. So yeah, I hope everybody is doing well. I hope your week has all started out well. Obviously, you know, if you watch my channel, you'll know that I film these generally on a Monday to go out for you guys on the Tuesday. So, you know, my week's obviously literally only just started. But you guys will be slightly more into your week already. So I hope that, you know, you're getting a feel for how your week's panning out so far. And I hope it's, yeah, I hope it's going well. So we have got lovely sunshine here today. How long it will last, who knows? But so far we've got nice sunny morning. We have had such a weird bunch of weather recently. We've had, well, you name it, we've had it. So yeah, we had obviously complete heat wave 2 weeks ago. We've had, like, you know, floods and, you know, inundated with rain and things like that for the last, I think 3 days last week. We've had it quite chilly. The weekend was surprisingly really lovely. You know, I mean, it wasn't hot or anything like that, but it was definitely quite pleasant. And now we're, yeah, probably similar to the weekend, to be honest. You know, I don't know what the actual temperatures are, but maybe like 15 or 16, but sunny, you know, which is quite nice. So yeah, who knows what is going on, but yeah, we've had a whole mixed bag of stuff going on, so it's been really strange. What have we been up to? So big news of the morning. So my middle son, he's been learning to drive. I mean, he only turned 17 in August, and yeah, you have to be 17 to drive here in the UK. So he just turned 17 in August, and he's been learning to drive, but he was pretty good anyway. You know, he'd yeah, kind of like, you know, we'd practiced quite a bit in the car park and things like that for, you know, several months now. So, you know, he was pretty good, to be fair. Anyway, he was trying to get a driving test, and he put in for a driving test, you know, in the, what do you call them? Like conventional kind of methods, you know, whatever those methods are, here in the UK these days. And his test date, it's not until January. So needless to say, he was obviously gutted because, you know, he couldn't wait to learn to drive, of course, you know, because, I mean, that's life-changing, isn't it, once you can drive. Anyway, so how it's done these days is apparently like apps. You know, the apps, they buy up all the tests and then they release them as cancellations. So, of course, you know, you have to subscribe to the app and, you know, that's how they make their money. And, you know, so he'd been subscribed to one app and, you know, he really wasn't kind of still getting very far with getting a test. So just last Sunday, he downloaded another app, a different one, to try and obviously get a test. And, yeah, lo and behold, he only downloaded the app on the Sunday. And already by the Monday morning, he already had a test for yesterday. I was just trying to remember whether he'd been offered another test at first. I can't remember, to be honest. But yeah, he'd already got a test come through for yesterday, would you believe? So unbelievable. You know, he'd been kind of, you know, I'm not necessarily saying patiently waiting, but, you know, persevering, you know, waiting, thinking, oh gosh, you know, it's going to be forever till I actually learn, you know, or get a test come through. And then within literally 12 hours of downloading that app, he already had a test come through for within like 6 days. So anyway, so his test was yesterday. So I was so worried because I just thought, oh, he's going to be so gutted if he fails, because he travels quite a way for work. And it's not even so much the distance, but it's a bit of a pig of a journey. So, you know, it really would be life-changing if he could learn to drive, you know, or if he could drive. So thank the Lord he passed his test yesterday. So I am so thrilled for him. I mean, yeah, to say it's going to change his life is kind of an understatement, because honestly, that journey to work has been just a nightmare. The trains over here in the UK are so unreliable. And they're constantly striking and, oh, just a nightmare. So, you know, so many times if the train, so normally he'll have like, say, a half an hour or a 20-minute walk to the train station. And then he has about a 40-minute train journey. And then he has, you know, about a 15-minute walk the other end. So, you know, it's a bit of a, what's the word? Well, a rubbish journey, let's just say. So, yeah, bit of a rubbish journey. And, oh, I'm just going to maybe swap these over, actually. Bit of a rubbish journey. So, sometimes when the trains are cancelled, what's even worse is he then finds that the trains have been cancelled and he has to get the bus. And, oh, my gosh, I mean, the bus, I'm not kidding, it kind of like stops everywhere. I'm not sure whether it's a straight through bus or whether he has to change. But anyway, it takes about 2 hours to get there. And then about 2 hours coming home. So, of course, he doesn't even get home till really late. And, you know, I mean, obviously, he doesn't really earn a great deal. So, I'm sure he feels, you know, like, is this worth it? You know. Anyway, so it's going to be so incredibly life-changing for him from that point of view. Because, of course, now he can just drive. And it's going to take him, like, half an hour, 35 minutes. And, of course, no walking when it's raining, you know, none of that stuff going on, you know. So it's going to be, yes, so, you know, life-changing for him. So I'm so thrilled. You know, it really is going to just be, yeah, such a massive difference to him. So, yeah, really chuffed. And, yeah, he was so chuffed. Right, I'm going to move this up slightly just because I want a little bit more of this fabric showing, poking out at the bottom. And obviously I'm going to trim up the top in a minute. So just pop this down like that. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so that was the big news yesterday. So, and it was so weird. His test came through randomly. It was 10:24 was his test time. I mean, how odd is that? Not 10:30 or, you know, 10 o'clock, 10:24. I just thought, well, that's just like such a bizarre thing, you know, 10:24 precisely. So anyway, thrilled to bits that he's obviously, you know, passed his test, and he's obviously thrilled to bits. So I hope to goodness it doesn't mean that I'm just not now going to see him, you know. So yesterday I went, I know I've talked about them before, but they have these sausage dog walks. So I went on a sausage dog walk, you know, with lovely Bo. And I met one of my friends from the gym. So he goes with his wife. And, yeah, so and actually it's his niece who organises the walks. So yeah, and I'd said to my son, well, you know, I'm going on the sausage walk, you know, did you want to come? Obviously you could meet me down there, because of course, you know, he'd only just passed his test kind of a few hours before. So, you know, I said, obviously I realise, you know, you probably want to be driving about, so, you know, you could meet me down there if you like. Oh yeah, I might do. I mean, of course he didn't, you know, and that's fair enough, because I mean, he'd obviously just passed his test. But I hope this isn't now the beginning of just not seeing him now, hardly at all. So I mean, I know that's normal, isn't it, you know, because of course once you've passed your test you have no need to be hanging out with your mum anymore, because you have your own transport. But yeah, I hope that it's not going to just be a case of, you know, barely seeing him now. Who knows? I shall keep you all informed as to whether I do see him much or not, really. But yeah, anyway, he didn't make it to the sausage walk, but I went on the sausage walk, and yeah, had such a lovely time. Honestly, Bo just loves those walks so much. I mean, they're so fun. I think there were about 40 sausage dogs yesterday on the walk. So, you know, that's a lot of people, because I mean, you know, a lot of those people, kind of 2 people per dog, you know, so I mean, it would have been like about 80 people. I mean, obviously there would have been some people on their own, you know, I was obviously on my own. Yeah, so I don't know really what the numbers of the people was, but yeah, Bo just absolutely loves it. So it's a really nice thing to do. I mean, I haven't been on every single one. They're like once a month. They started a few months ago. I know that I did mention it when I went on the first one. So I haven't been on every single one, because sometimes I haven't been able to make it, or, you know, if it's kind of raining or really horrible weather, I haven't been, because I'm a bit of a lightweight when it comes to, you know, I don't want to go out walking in the rain or the wind or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, if I've been free and the weather's been good, I have gone. So yeah, we had such a nice time. So that was yesterday, and then last night I went out for a meal. So I'm trying to kind of like, you know, get myself a little bit more sociable. So yeah, I went out for a meal last night with some friends from the gym. So that was really fun and really nice. I had, you know, a really nice time. My daughter was with her dad for the weekend, so yep, I was kind of like child free, and I thought, do you know what, I need to just actually kind of make the most of being child free, because, you know, of course you're only going to get a social life if you actually make an effort, aren't you? So yeah, I went out for a meal with a couple of friends from the gym, had a really nice time, and yep, didn't get back till like 9:30, which, you know, that's quite late for me. And Saturday night I went out with a friend as well. So yep, had a nice time, you know, with him, and yep, that was another late night. I don't think I actually got back until 11:15, would you believe? So yeah, but I thought, again, just, you know, start going out and, you know, doing some stuff and, you know, being a bit more sociable. So yeah, I had a nice time, and yeah, so I've eaten a lot of food this weekend. I shall have to do extra hours in the gym, I think, now, to actually try and like burn all that food off. But there we go. But I did have a nice time. So yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Is trying to kind of like, you know, enjoy your life a bit. But I mean, I think it just takes a while, doesn't it, to, I have to say, I'm really loving this flower on here. I know it's random because it really doesn't particularly match this, you know, fabric tipping at all, or the fabric from the fabric tipping, but something about that looks really pretty, doesn't it? So yeah, I'm going to go for that on there. Anyway, I came back from the gym this morning, and yeah, really healthy. I've already had a smoothie today. So yes, hopefully I'm going to just get myself back into healthy eating now after a, you know, a naughty weekend. So okay, so that was that. Last week, what did we do last week? I feel like I did go to the cinema last week, but I can't remember or perhaps I didn't. I'm thinking of the you know, the weekend before when we went to watch the Poirot film, which of course I talked about that last week already. So yeah, I won't bore you again with that. Oh, that's quite pretty, isn't it? Let's have that on there as well. So yeah, that was good. There we go. And I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who placed an order on my shop. So first of all, on my shabbydabbydoodah.co.uk website when I did my restock video, thank you so much to everyone who placed an order then. But also thank you to anyone who placed an order on my launch of my autumn kit on Sunday. So yeah, I really do appreciate your support. Thank you very much for you know, placing an order if you did. And I really hope you're enjoying your kit. I know I talked about it before, but you know, it is quite hard coming up with kind of different kits and things like that once you've done a couple for a certain theme, i.e. like autumn. It's quite hard to then still come up with other, you know, potentially original ideas. So yeah, oh, I quite like that there actually. So I'm just going to glue this down. So I'm just going to put some Fabri-Tac here and put this down on the base of this. Oops, like that. Okay. I have got an ivory flower. Let's just try this one. Oops. There we go. Yeah, perhaps I'll have that there. Just felt like I need to cover up that yellow postage stamp because obviously, you know, it doesn't really feel like it goes really. Do we want to have any flowers on here? No, I think that's that. Although I did have some other. Oh, perhaps I'll leave it like that. I felt like if I had some of those peachy coloured flowers, that they would go quite well. Hang on, let me just look in my little trims bag to the side of me. See if I've got some of the peachy coloured ones. I just thought these might go quite well. So trying to think if I've watched anything recently. I mean, to be honest, because I've been quite busy, I haven't really been, you know, even watching very much, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think I've really been watching anything particularly. I mean, if, you know, when I obviously wasn't out like last week, you know, for my busy weekend for once, I was just working really. So yeah, I don't think I've really watched anything to, you know, to speak of, unfortunately. So yeah, nothing to report there. I'm just going to show you actually how I'm getting on with my autumn altar book, because yeah, at the weekend I thought, well, I must crack on with that obviously, so that, you know, it's still autumn when I finish it. So these are my next 2 pages. I've done this page obviously in the launch video, and what I've done, I've just painted some other pages in the book. So I've done now this page here, and oops, this page here. I mean, isn't that just so gorgeous? And this page here, this one's probably my favourite one. I absolutely love how that looks. So yes, that's my autumn harvest kit. And yeah, obviously, yeah, they're the pages that I've done at the weekend. And obviously I have now painted the whole book. So I'm kind of like ready to go. I'm ready to, you know, get on with that. But yeah, just haven't had time to do an awful lot more. But definitely I'm going to crack on with it. Hopefully a bit later today. I have got a couple of other things I'm needing to be doing, but hopefully, you know, once I've done those things, I'm going to, you know, get on and do some other bits in that journal. Because like I say, what's happened sometimes in the past is by the time I've finished, you know, a seasonal item, the season is over. So I think that happened last year with my Halloween journal. It kind of dragged on, and in the end, I mean, Halloween was kind of finished, you know, and over with by the time that I finished the journal, which of course not saying it's the end of the world, but you know, it's not ideal, is it? So I'd rather try and get it actually finished, you know, a bit more in a timely manner, so it's still that season at least. So right, let's put in these fabrics here. I mean, that's quite nice, isn't it? Oh, that one. I might have to trim these down at the sides, I'm thinking. Yeah, maybe something like that. And then let's just see what kind of trim that we might have across the top of here. Maybe something like that. That's quite pretty, isn't it? I'm just going to check that I want it that way up and not this way up. Yeah, I mean, weirdly, I think it does look better that way up, you know, the other way. So, yeah, that's a bit of a shame, isn't it? Right, okay, let's just quickly glue this down. Okay, so the plan for the mass making videos, right. So I've had the overwhelming votes have been to continue with the mass making and do like a third run. So thank you so much for everybody who's, you know, cast your vote, you know, voting for a third season, a third round of the mass makings. That's just so lovely to hear, because honestly, I have the most fun when I'm hanging out with you guys on the mass making sessions. So yes, we're going to go for a third round of the mass makings. And was that the lace that I put there? I think it was. I'm going to put it higher, and then of course I'll just snip it off at the top. So yeah, we'll put it like that. Yeah, so we're going to go for a third round, and I'm going to do something a little bit different. So yeah, I'm going to try and slot in 10 bonus weeks. So instead of just now continuing with week number 201, which would be week 1 again, we're going to go out of sync a little bit here, numbers wise. So what we might have to do is call them, you know, week 200. I don't know whether we'd do 200 bonus 1 or something like that. I'm not sure. But I'm going to do like 10 bonus weeks in between. So what that will be is 10 items which we have not done in a mass making session before. So yep, I'm still obviously trawling through and trying to find 10, you know, 10 new things that we haven't made before. But yeah, I've found quite a few already. So yeah, hopefully I will be okay and manage to find some. But yeah, that's what I thought we would do, because otherwise, you know, we're just going to rewind straight away. And I thought, well, that's quite boring, isn't it? So perhaps we'll, you know, rewind in 10 weeks time, if you see what I mean. So that's the plan, which I think, you know, will work hopefully really well. Right, I'm just wondering whether I want to have any more of this. So I'll just take that down like that. Yeah, I mean, even like that looks quite nice, doesn't it? So yeah, we're going to have the 10 bonus weeks. So yep, that will start obviously next week. And we will, you know, just continue on like that. So now I have to say, my craft room is just, oh, like awful. So I have had a lot of requests to resurrect the Tidy Fridays. Now, I'm not even sure that I can bring myself to be honest, because my room is so awful right now. Obviously, you know, that's why I so need to, you know, because it's so bad. But at the moment, it's so bad, I wouldn't even know where to honestly start. So I'm not sure. But definitely it's kind of like I'm, you know, considering the whole Tidy Friday or Tidy Friday, you know, not reruns, but, you know, resurrection of that kind of series. So we shall see. But like I say, at the moment, I'm kind of like, oh my goodness, I would not even know where to start. It would be so overwhelming. So we shall see whether that will happen or not, really. But yeah, I've had a lot of requests to do the Tidy Fridays again. So you know, we'll just see how it goes. But, you know, maybe they will be resurrected, and yeah, maybe they won't. We just have to kind of like play it by ear. Right, just trying to see which fabric would look best with this. Do I go for like a complete contrasting one, or do we want to kind of like go for something a bit more, you know, a bit more in keeping? Now I'm just wondering whether I'm better off making this the same width. You know, I think that would look better, wouldn't it? And actually I'm wondering whether we should make this a bit shorter, maybe more like that sort of size. So yeah, I'm going to just cut it off here before even gluing this down. So yeah, just going to take that across there. Again, not going to throw this away. Who knows? We might make something with it. You know, maybe not today, but maybe at some point we might make something with it. Now this one, it probably doesn't matter which side this is if I'm truthful, but yeah, let's just pop some glue on there. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I've got glue everywhere. Well, the glue, when I say glue everywhere, it's because I've got threads everywhere. Oh, hopefully that was the right way up. I'm going to trim this one down the side, to be honest, because I think it would benefit from being trimmed on the side. So there we go, like that. And then yeah, we're just going to trim it down here like that. Okay, oops, gone a bit wonky here, but okay. Right, I've just tidied that up slightly. Oh my gosh, it's still very, very wonky, isn't it? But never mind. Never mind. I mean, no one's really going to be looking too closely at that, are they? So now I've got this red lace, which I'm even wondering whether we could have the red lace at the top. Should we do that? Let's go for that. Let's be different. Let's be adventurous. Okay. So yeah, let's put that one on. And then I'm just going to, yep, snip that there. In fact, I'll go right way down. Okay. Yeah, I just can't believe how fast the year is just flying by, to be honest. I mean, someone said to me the other day that they put the radio on and they were playing Christmas songs already. Oh no. I mean, we have like a bit of a thing in our house where you cannot play a Christmas song until the 1st of December. You know, because who wants to hear them? I mean, I love Christmas songs, but nobody wants to hear them before then, because to be honest, then, you know, you're sick of them by the time Christmas comes around. So, well, plus as well, I don't think it then feels like Christmas. If you've been playing the Christmas songs all the time, it's like, well, you know, what's different now? We've been playing them and hearing them all year round anyway. So, yeah, we do have a, you know, no Christmas songs are to be played until the 1st of December. I might even have a bit of this up there. I'm wondering whether I could even finish it off with a little bit down the bottom. So yeah, let's put this across there. And then I might have some pearly trim on here as well. So there we go. Oops. Put that down like that. There we go. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the nights will be drawing in and all of that stuff soon as well. I mean, they're already, you know, it is already getting sort of darker. I think it's getting dark at the moment at about 6:30, which, you know, that's quite a change, isn't it? You know, compared to like the summer. I mean, I know I've said this loads of times in the past, but I do actually quite like the changing of the seasons, you know, and I know lots of people find that very depressing, don't they, when suddenly you have the dark evenings and all of that. But I actually quite enjoy it. And I'm not saying the novelty doesn't wear off eventually and then I'm like so thrilled when summer comes around. But, you know, in certainly the, you know, the immediate kind of, you know, when it first happens, I'm always quite excited by the, oh, brilliant, it's, you know, it's soup season and it's, you know, yep, dark evenings. I think that's quite fun. You know, but don't get me wrong, yeah, the novelty does wear off quite quickly because obviously, you know, the dark evenings, they kind of begin to get you down in the end, you know, because it's so drab. But yeah, I do quite like it at first. Right, let's have a look and see what we'll put on these. Okay. Unfortunately, I've now been putting these on my lap and getting them all mixed in, so I'm now not even entirely sure which is a long piece and which is, you know, a smaller piece. They've all kind of merged in. I mean, was that going to be a base piece or was that just a second piece? I don't know. Still, it looks pretty on there, doesn't it? Whatever was the original intention, it looks good on there. Oh, I could even have something like that going across the top, to be honest. Let's have a look. So hopefully they might put some dramas and things like that on TV soon as well, because they do that, don't they? In the winter, they sort of put more dramas and things on the telly. So hopefully, you know, there'll be some better things to watch and stuff like that. So I do like watching dramas and things on the telly. But, you know, I mean, it's going to be half term soon, which the half term, I think it's in October. I mean, it's only just, you know, the children have only just returned from the summer. And already, like, half term, you know, half term talk is coming around like, oh, should we do this in the half term or should we do that in the half term? And it's like, really? They've only just that second gone back. But yeah, just flies and flies and flies. I mean, that's quite pretty, isn't it, to be honest? So yeah, should we do that as a completely different look? I'm just going to cut this like this and then I will, you know, tidy it up in a minute. So, but just to make it easier to handle, I've just cut it very randomly like that. And then we want to have a piece of lace going across here, which, let's have a look. Oh, don't really want to have that because it's very dark. Just having a look in my little lace box behind me to see if I've got any. Oh, what about this? So I use this lace a lot, but yeah. Oh my goodness, how gorgeous is that? Yeah. Okay, right. So let's glue these bits together. I'm going to do this one in a minute because that's, I think, going to maybe be my favourite one I've even made. Maybe ever. Okay. There we go. And this one. Oops. Like that. Oh, I was so tired the other day. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you know, sometimes when you just wake up in the middle of the night and you are so wide awake that in the end it's like, there's no way I'm getting back to sleep. I might as well just get up. So I did. I just got up. So I woke up at 3 o'clock and I got up by 3:30. I went and made myself a cup of tea and things, you know, and then by 4 o'clock I'd come into my, you know, my craft room and was doing some bits in here. Oh my goodness, it was so horrible because I felt like jet lagged. By the end of the day, I was like so tired. You know, yeah, just was horrible. And I don't think I've quite recovered from that since. I mean, some people, they just wake up like that all the time, don't they? I've got quite a few kind of, well, I say quite a few. I think there's like 2 or 3 people at the gym who that's just their regular night sleep pattern. Is, you know, they're kind of like tossing and turning from, you know, sometimes like midnight. And again, quite often they end up just giving in and just getting up by like 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it's so awful, isn't it? Because, you know, you must be so tired then during the day. Your body's, you know, operating on sort of almost like a completely different time frame, isn't it? So yeah, it's horrible. And I don't think your body does get used to it or anything. I think, you know, it still does really just needs that extra sleep, doesn't it? But I suppose you just start being able to function on less. But, you know, it's not because your body's like, oh, I don't need that now. I think your body still does, but you just, you know, somehow find the ability to cope with, you know, what your body's kind of throwing at you. But yeah, very, you know, it's quite depressing. I think a lot of those people, you know, they really do struggle to then, you know, it becomes like they dread going to sleep because they know they're going to just be awake, you know, half the night and things like that. And it's like a bit of a vicious circle then. So yeah, not very nice. But I mean, I have been through phases like that in my life. So, you know, I have kind of experienced that. But yeah, touch wood, it's well, hopefully not too much for a regular thing. But yeah, I have had periods where it's gone on for months, and I've done that every single night for months, and that's just awful. Absolutely horrible. I mean, I think it helps when you work out, you know, when you have a workout, I think that really helps with sleep. So yeah, I definitely think that helps with getting a good night, you know, good night's sleep. But I mean, that being said, the people who I'm, you know, saying that I personally know who struggle to sleep, I mean, they're, you know, they do work out every day, and it's not obviously helping with their sleep patterns at all. So yeah, just not really very fun. Okay. Oh, like I say, I mean, I love how this one looks. It's so gorgeous, isn't it? So just cutting that right the way across there again, getting rid of that little curvy, you know, curvy top. Like that. Okay. There we go. Oops. Yeah, that looks gorgeous, doesn't it? Now, what should we put on this? I'm just going to cut a bit of that pearly trim down and just see if we want any of that anywhere. It's quite pretty. And then, do we want any flowers or anything anywhere? Or, you know, even just a bit of this lace. Maybe down the bottom or something. I mean, weirdly, I actually don't think that lace looks that great down the bottom there. It looks okay. I feel like we need something more coloured there. So just see if I've got... They're not really the right colour, are they? No. Nope, they're not the right colour. I don't think these are going to be the right colour. No. Oh, this has gone from now going to be my favourite to now I can't find something to finish it off with. Oh, what if we put the bow on there? Oops. Like that. Well, that's quite pretty, isn't it? Yeah, let's do that. Oops. I mean, you don't need to decorate them with anything at all. To be honest, you know, you might absolutely just love them completely plain, you know, but I just think that kind of adds an extra little something, doesn't it, by having the little bit of trim. So we've probably got time to just do one more, I think. So let's pull this one in. Let's just see. Oh, that's quite pretty. Just checking which way up we want that. Maybe something like that. And maybe what we should do is have the same again, like that. That's quite nice, isn't it? Now I'm just wondering, do we want to have that a bit shorter? More like that sort of height. So I'm just going to take this off here. Okay. Again, I'm not going to throw these away because we may want to use those somewhere later, honestly. Only a junk journaler would get this, wouldn't they? Oh, I did laugh so much. So when I went out last night, you know, with my gym buddies, and before we went out, you know, my friend, he'd come to pick me up, and, you know, he'd never been to my house before, but obviously I talk a lot about, you know, he'll say, oh, you know, what are you doing at work today? You know, and I say, you know, probably just filming, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes I'll, you know, what are you going to film? And I'll say, oh, I'm not sure. I'll just, you know, grab something from around my desk. And, you know, he'd look a bit baffled and be like, oh, really? You know, because I guess that sounds pretty strange, doesn't it, to any normal person, you know, that you could just grab any old thing off your desk, because most people's desks probably haven't got that much stuff to grab from. Anyway, so when he picked me up, I said, oh, did you want to have a look at my craft room, by the way? So, yeah, he could not believe it. Couldn't believe it. So when we were out, you know, with our other friend, said, you know, oh, what did you think to my craft room, by the way? He was like, right, just picture that program, Extreme Hoarders. So I don't know if this kind of program takes place everywhere, but there's a program over here in the UK. It's called Extreme Hoarders. And obviously, as you can imagine, it's people who are hoarding all sorts of things. And their house is like appalling, absolutely appalling. So that's what he's decided that my craft room is like. I mean, honestly, how embarrassing. So this friend, he was Gary's best friend. So yeah, he was Gary's best friend. So, you know, obviously I knew him when I knew Gary, and yeah, but you know, yeah, so that was Gary's best friend. But yeah, he just said, yeah, picture Extreme Hoarders, you know, that's what your craft room is like. I was like, oh, that's not good, is it? And the other person that we were with, you know, I think he was like, oh my goodness, you know, what on earth? But yeah. But I think, you know, unless you are a crafter, even more specifically a junk journaler, you probably wouldn't really get it, would you? You would just go, what on earth is going on in that woman's room? You know. But yeah. Extreme Hoarders. I mean, oh, that's an embarrassing title to be kind of associated with, isn't it? Oh dear. Now Gary, my dear friend Gary, who obviously passed away earlier on this year, he was so tidy. I mean, like kind of OCD tidy. And oh, it did used to make me laugh. He would, you know, I'd see him at the gym, you know, and he was one of those people who didn't sleep, you know, he often, you know, didn't sleep. And he'd say, you know, I'd say, oh, how are you? You know, and he'd say, oh, I've had like the world's worst night's sleep. You know, I've been awake since like 3 in the morning and blah, 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 you know. And then he'd say, oh, you know, so I've just got up and did some cleaning, you know, because the house was just awful. Honestly, I mean, picture like the tidiest house ever on the planet, and then probably even multiply that. That was his flat. You know, it was so tidy. So it just used to make me laugh, you know, because I'd be like, oh yeah, it must have been a real mess. You know, I can see why you had to get on top of that. And just every now and then I would message him a picture of my house. Not my house generally, because I like to think that, you know, it's mainly just my girlfriend. But yeah, I mean, let's be honest, the whole house is not very tidy, but it's okay. It's not, obviously, it's not any match for my, you know, the craft room. But yeah, I would kind of sometimes say, oh, you know, check out these pictures, you know, look at my house kind of thing, if you think yours is messy. And bless him, he was such a lovely person. I mean, he must have been kind of like inside just, oh, having utter kind of like panic, like thinking, oh my goodness, you know, how can you be living in that tip, you know? But he would come back with things like, oh, it looks lived in. oh, it's a family house. Honestly, we still laugh about it now, you know, a few of us who obviously knew Gary so well, and we laugh about it and say, you know, how tidy he was, you know. And yeah, I just think, oh, he was so lovely, bless him. He was always like, oh, well, I mean, it's a family house, isn't it? It just looks lived in. But I mean, deep down, he must have been absolutely horrified that anyone was living in such a mess. I mean, not, like I say, not generally everywhere in the house, but, you know, specifically my craft room, which of course was where I would often send the pictures, you know, saying, look at my craft room. And yeah, he must have just thought, oh my goodness, how on earth is she living in that terrible tip? But yeah, he was just too polite to ever say. Oh, I do miss that man, I have to say. So yeah, he was just like the nicest chap ever. Right. Okay, so that's probably it for that. So that one I've got, you know, quite a bit going on in terms of decoration, but it looks lovely, doesn't it? So let's pull in the fabric tip-ins that we have done. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. 6, 7, 8. So we've done 8. I think in my original video, I think maybe I might have done 9. But to be fair, I'm not sure whether I decorated them or not. So yeah, I hope you like them. I've got a few bits of fabric obviously left, so I can obviously always, you know, make some paper clips or, you know, use them as collage covers or something like that. You know, I didn't use in the end all of the bits that I did cut, but yeah, I mean, I've not done too badly, have I? And I've got those bits of fabric left. So also those are the fabrics from the, you know, the fabric scrap bags as well that are obviously on my website. So I guess that gives you a little bit of an idea of, you know, the types of things that you could do with some of those. So I hope that you like these, and yeah, hopefully you feel inspired to make some. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks then. Bye.